this episode, we'll be fishing at Pickens Lake here at Herman Baker Park. Pickens Lake has a considerable amount of shoreline, with a natural truss system that surrounds the lake, which was also opened in 1979. The park has picnic tables and other amenities. Depending on rainfall, the lake is typically around 30 acres, with periods of heavy rainfall could be as large as 65 acres. The Earthland Dam on the north side of the lake is 54 feet tall and 1,270 feet long. No boat ramps, just natural launch spots on the west side shore. Oh, and no gas engines. Texas Parks and Recreation's website, updated 12/26/19, has the last report of the biggest fish, a black crappie, 15.38 inches, which was caught in 2009. The types of fish I know of for sure are crappie and bass, but I know there are many others. So take a chance and you could be catching the next biggest fish. Bentley, today we're going to read the story about the 3 lures.
Red spinnerbait takes a whirl.
In the 83 acres of Herman Baker Park lies Pickens Lake, where many types of fish live. There we find a fisherman on his kayak trying to catch one fish.
Red square bill flounders about.
Later that day, the fisherman and his friend continued fishing. The fisherman was not the sort to give up easily, but began to think of a different lure.
I'd like to catch one so you'd have a little action on that thing.
Fishing in antiquity has involved lures even in ancient times. The shapes are the same.
Jim Bolenbach collects all kinds of rods, reels, and tackle, some of which date back to the turn of the century.
This is a saltwater box from about 1900. All the tackle in it pretty much is the way I got it, from its original owner, a man in San Diego. The lures are made of things we wouldn't think of using today. These are made of bone with brass fittings, with a hook or a double hook screwed to the bone and held in place by a wire.
Jim says fishing became a national pastime after World War II, and that everyone with an idea for a new lure obtained a patent and went into production.
Texas was a hotbed of this activity. There are a half a dozen of the biggest lure makers in the world. Got started in Texas right after the war. Names that every fisherman recognizes, like Pico, the Padre Island Company, Whopper Stopper, and Bomber Bait Company of Gainesville, Texas.
It all started in a dirt floor garage. These two gentlemen got together. So they came up with the idea, let's make a floating diving bait. It's the one that floats on top of the water, and when you pull on it, it dives under the water. So you have the best of two worlds, which was back then a revolutionary idea.
Bomber Bait Company has been in business since 1946, and the majority of work here is still done by hand.
The first step in the process is scraping the excess plastic off the bait so that it's a nice, smooth finish when it comes out the end of the line. There's as many as 11 to 15 different steps, just strictly painting that goes on them. It all depends on what the customer wants.
Some people are so amazed because they come in here and it's done so much by hand. They expect the baits to be on machines and going down, and practically no personnel doing it, but it's practically all hand work.
I started 20 years ago, better than 20 years ago, designing fishing lures. Back then, I would look at all the baits that Bomber makes and say, you can't make anymore. Everything's been made. That was 20 years ago. They're still going. It's just an ongoing process. Man thinks that this bait is better than the one he has. It's going to catch the trophy fish.
Old Faithful comes through.
On this beautiful day, the fisherman decided to try one more time with a third lure and perhaps visit his first thought spot, which he wanted to fish first, but being the polite fisherman, waited his turn. The fisherman's friend reminded him of his spot located in the cove.
Well, let's go try there. It's the only place we haven't been.
You may think that catching that bass was the best part of my day, but it wasn't. The best part was being on the lake with my best friend, my wife. And any day you can spend time with family and friends is the best day of fishing.